Hello, this is Malorian, and now this will be Game 5 of the Warhammer tournament, and this is going to be Orcs up against Orcs. So, like I said, Orcs versus Orcs, and it's on a Night Goblin themed table. This one here, it's all about these. It's supposed to be like a mushroom cave, and so it has all these big chunks of impassable mushrooms all over the place, and if you ever go and touch them, you roll a dice and you can get anything from poison attacks to taking damage to having a guy that's going to get 2d6 attacks in the next phase, like the next combat that they want, and then they die. So nice and random stuff there. And talking about random, it's also dawn attack, so of course that throws a monkey wrench into everything that's going on. For my side, after I did my whole dawn attack placement first, I have a troll placed on the left, which is stupidly way far away from my general. I have my two chariots, the orc archers, my savages that have both of my regular war bosses on foot, night goblins with a BSB behind, my savage boar boys trying to get off to the left and do something because I was kind of stuck in the middle, the night goblin spearmen, super orc, and my pump wagon. Then I have my black orcs with the mangler behind, and then the spiders, and finally my shield orcs on the far right there. And where the hell are my wolves? I don't know. They're probably there on the right there as well. I can't remember where my wolves are. Anyway, the person I'm up against, this was something I was pretty worried about. I mean, not only did I look at his army and think, there's some scary stuff in here, but this is a guy where on the Calgary forums, I'm always hearing like, oh man, I don't want to face this guy. Oh, this guy, he's, like, as a penalty, you should have to face this guy because he'll crush you. So, I mean, coming with kind of a record like this, I had to be very worried, and looking at his list, I was even more worried. Going from left to right, he has Grimgore and a unit of Black Orcs, so of course that means they have Hatred and Weapon Skill 5. He has a Boar Chariot over there, a Wolf Chariot over there. Then he has some Night Goblins set up in Horde, and in there he has his level 4 Night Goblin Shaman. He has a Rock Narok, and behind it he has a Rock Lava. By the way, behind the Black Orcs is a Doom Diver. Then he has some Wolf Riders there. He has a big unit of regular orc biggins, and they have shields, and in there is a level 2 orc shaman, and then he has another doom diver and another rock lobber on the far corner, and then with this whole storm of magic stuff, he has this kind of great eagle thing that's on the far right that's kind of hard to see right now. So the good news for me is that dawn attack kicked his butt, rolling a 2 for Grimgore, so he's way off on the left, and rolling a 1 for the other unit, so it's way on the other side. And for me, I mean, for some of my units, like you can see in my Black Orcs, I have them on 2 different trays, so if I ever need to go 5 wide, it's no problem. And he didn't do that. Especially with the Black Orcs. I didn't know if that meant because he was going to reform next turn anyway to see which way he was going to swing around that impassable, but it really seemed to me that the way they were set up, they could not wheel to get out of the positions they were placed in because of the way that they were forced to be placed. So really, when I was first looking at my army versus his army, I had this whole idea of how I was going to be matching up my one war boss against Grimgore and how I was going to have to try and play this game. But the way this is now, it's going to be fairly difficult. So, because really what happens is if I go and I storm the center, I'm going to have these 2 strong blocks that could be flanking me after. So I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and gum up the center there with my savages, hopefully get into a fight with something like the Iraq Narok or something, and hopefully from there swing on to the right, because between Grimgore and his immortals and a big horde of orc biggins, I'd rather fight the orc biggins. So if I can concentrate on the right flank, that'd be the hope. And then here's just a little focus on the center where, the main stuff's going to be happening, and just me being not very happy the way that my deployment ended up, which is mainly my fault. So my turn 1, animosity means that my spear night goblins are staying back. I also failed stupidity, and I am just kind of moving up and trying to get ready to do some fighting there. Let's see, I have the thing on my Black Orcs where one of the guys is going to be going crazy and getting 2d6 attacks and then dying, and then otherwise that's pretty much it. In this magic phase, for what I have, what spell did I even get this? I think I got like Lore of Metal or something silly. I don't know. It wasn't very useful this game. His turn one, and this is where we had to kind of make some concessions because, I mean, as he started moving some things, I started saying like, well, wouldn't you get stuck in the impassable there? And then you try to, like, you kind of reminded me, well, look how close you're to impassable. You have to stay an inch away. And this is one of the weird things about this mission, is because normally you have to stay an inch away from impassable, but the mission also has you touching impassable, so yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. So in the end, you know, you don't want to be being a dick for on the last day, so just whatever, just, you know, just go and wheel around. So he has Grimgore that's wheeling to the center, his Wolf Chariot that's facing off against mine. Some shooting into me took 2 wounds, but I'm still alive so far. Some Wolf Riders getting into my way, and then the big thing is that Super Orc was kind of like just zipping up there to try and get to his one Rock Lava, and he made sure to move his Arak Narok just perfect to be in the front, so I can't really get past it. He also has these Great Eagle in the far right that moved to block it, so I couldn't get my Wolf Riders through there, and had his other Wolf Riders come over and shoot at me, and I'm just down at 2 now. Luckily I passed my test. My turn 2, and this is where things got kind of nuts. For the simple things, I mean, my Savage Orc Boar Boys failed animosity. They're not going to do anything this game. My chariot charged his chariot, and in an epic roll-off, I eventually managed to win, so hooray. And then another thing with animosity is that it let my Savage Orcs move farther up, and then I pulled off, like, needing to roll a 10 to get a charge into his Night Goblins. Yeah, I mean, so now I'm right up in there. It's actually not really good, because if I kill them, I'm going to have to go and fight Grimgore, but really at this point, you know, just whatever, let's just fight and get things crazy. One thing that was bad is, of course, he has that level 4 in there, and so my Savage Orc went to go kill him, my war boss, but with 7, or what is it, 8 strength 5, 6 attacks, I wasn't able to do it because of his 4+ ward. So still alive, only did 1 wound to him. The other thing that happened this time is I charged his Wolf Riders to make them flee and go away. My Wolf Riders on the right going back to safety. And then with Super Orc, I really didn't know what to do with him. I didn't have a lot of good options. I didn't want to just get shot and killed. So just to try and get something good out of him, I charged him into the Biggins. The hope being that I can kill off one of his characters, and if nothing else, just hold him up so I can get a position. And in this one, he challenged me, I crushed his champion, and I think I won this combat, or I lost by 1 and I held. I think I lost and held. Yeah, and here's a close-up of Super Orc just getting in there and being a jerk. On his turn, he has these 2 Saber Tusks, just singles, that come and ambush on. Again, this is coming from Storm of Magic. And in his magic phase, I get crushed. So, like I said, I wasn't able to kill his level 4, and I paid for it, because he went for the big version of the Bad Moon, went for initiative, and my Savage Orcs were destroyed. In a way, this is kind of a good thing, because whereas, I mean, for a while there, it was just, whatever, let's run up and kill things, and chances are Grimgore and his immortals are going to kill me. Well, what can happen now is that if I kill these guys slowly and just hold here, he could be steadfast the whole game and never see combat. So that's actually now my hope here, is just to kind of stay here and hopefully not kill him too quickly. So, end of his turn, it looks like this. He had also charged my Wolf Riders on the right. I fled and got away. I made a challenge, and I fought his BSB with Super Orc. Turns out he also has a 2+ save, so we didn't do anything to each other. I broke and managed to get away. He has his Wolf Riders that are blocking my Black Orcs there. And then apart from that, he has his Ragnarok that's threatening the flank of my Savage Orcs, but I'm pretty sure I can get some Night Goblins into him and pretty much hold him up. If not, maybe even beat him by combat res. My turn 3, some things go a little bit awry. I go and I, charge those wolf riders on the right there, make them run away and go away. My pump wagon was supposed to go and smash into one of the, what do you call it, saber tusks. I have the upgrades, so I have an extra dice, but I rolled double ones and just kind of went crazy in a wrong direction. The other thing that didn't help is I went and I charged my stuff into the Narok, went for a chariot and one of my night goblins. It looked like I'd have to go with my BSB unit, but I failed to charge and he destroyed my chariot. And so now he has the option of either charging my Savage Orcs or going after my BSB, both of which being a bad thing for me, and Super Orc rallied. And yeah, he decides to go for the rear from my unit, and I didn't pop my potion of strength, so yeah, it's gonna hurt. End of his turn 3, what he had done is he had charged his wolf riders into my black orcs in order to open up his biggins to charge super orc. I believe in this one I took the charge and was just kind of like holding him up. I think then I broke and ran down, but now my black orcs are ready to go and charge them. He had a saber tusk go into my pump wagon, and they're just kind of fighting it out. In the main combat over there, I did just one wound to his Narok, and my savages are all dead. Turn 4, I popped my potion of strength, kind of planning that I'm just going to mess up that Narok like crazy. And I roll like garbage, do almost nothing. He kills that war boss. And then pretty much now it's just my wizard hack guy fighting the night goblins there. The Narok was actually pretty much out of combat, and so he's just turned around. The good thing that happened to me this turn is that my black orcs were able to charge, and when I was touching the mushrooms, it gave me devastating charge. That's one of the other random things it can give you, and that was a pretty deadly fight, but in the end I beat and broke the biggins. Didn't catch them, they didn't run off the board, but I mean now the BSB is dead, their own banner is dead, and even if they rally I can finish them off. So at least I'm getting some points in. Earlier he had destroyed my one wolf chariot, so my orc archers are almost at his doom diver to attack it. I'd failed to charge this time. And my savage orc boar boy is just trying to go and run off this saber tusk here. His turn 4, he has his black orcs that swift reform and are kind of moving past me. The Narok going to face my guys there again. He had tried charging my archers in the rear with the saber tusk and failed, and he rallied his biggins. He also went and charged his Great Eagle into the flank of my orcs, I think just hoping to get some combat res or maybe just to hold me up. But I mean, I got pretty lucky. He did almost no wounds. I think I did one to him, and now that I've combat reformed to be facing him in horde, it's going to be an easy kill, even though he did kill my pump wagon. My turn 5, the black orcs go and charge his biggins again. This time he's off the board, and I've combat reformed to face his nice war machines on the right. His Great Eagle is dead. His Doom Diver on the left is dead. I charged and killed one of the saber tusks, and my troll has been useless the entire game, just stumbling around with stupidity. Finally, this is the turn that he gets the pass stupidity because he's in range of my general, and it's just perfect timing to go and run in front of the Narok to make sure that now when he charges the troll, I mean he's blocking my general, and it's going to redirect him towards the black orcs if he was to overrun. So just saving my butt last second. His turn 5, it really just matters about this, and really what he does is, I mean the night goblins were killed this turn, but he's just turning around and he re-put the black orcs into horde and turned around the Narok after he killed the troll just to really trap my war boss general here. My turn 6, pretty much on the right side, my Black Orcs are going to wipe out those two war machines, and all I set up over here was moving my units so that hopefully I would be out of range of, like, line of sight of the Arachnarok. I think after we looked at it, he would be good, but the main thing is that when I flee, I'm just going to touch my Orcs, jump to the other side, and easily get away. And then on his turn, that's exactly what I do. I just flee, hop over, and that's the game. So after everything was said and done, we added up all the victory points, and it turned out to be a tie. In a normal game of Warhammer, if you're ahead by 100 points, it's a win. In this one, I was up by a little bit over by 200 points, 200 and something. But as of the mission, you had to be ahead by 300 to get the minor win. So it's a tie, but you know what? I'm happy with that. He was a very strong and good opponent. A really strong list. My deployment was horrible. His was horrible. And with this whole mix-up and just pretty much throwing it out there, I'm happy with a tie. We agreed after that we really need to have a rematch at some point. Bring out our armies and play a more regular game. But you know what? It was an okay way to finish the game. The whole tournament. A whole bunch of really bloody combats here. A lot of really interesting and tactical things going on. And there's some games that you really remember because of how crazy and wacky the mission was. And even though that was part of this year with getting devastating charge on Black Orcs and stuff, there was a whole bunch of dancing around here about how his Grimgore in Immortals never saw combat whatsoever. With those Night Goblins with my amazingly long charge, holding him up forever, and with Super Orc being a jerk and holding him up on the right, his biggins were pretty much stuck there until my Black Orcs were able to clear off the chaff and get there to finish them off. So, interesting game, but yeah, need a rematch.